This is the Amyet S8 dual motor electric bike, and today I'm going to tell you what I think about it. Hi, my name is Hobart from HobartReviews.com, and today we're going to be doing a detailed overview, a test ride, and I'm going to give you some real range results for the Amyet S8. Now, this is a fat tire, moped-style e-bike that promises a serious punch. We're talking 3,000 watts of peak power, all for a surprisingly good price. Now, I've put some test miles on this, and I promise you by the end of the video, you're going to know whether the Amyet S8 dual motor e-bike is the right e-bike for you. So let's go ahead and get started. The Amyet S8 normally retails for $1,599, but at the time of this review, it's on sale for just $1,049. But if you get it while their Christmas promotion is going on, they take another 10% off the price to make it just $944.10. Now don't worry, if you don't get it before the Christmas promotion is over, you can always use my discount code Hobart to get $50 off the price. Amyet does offer a 1-year factory warranty on the S8, but you can also purchase accident protection for up to 3 years. They offer a 30-day risk-free trial, free shipping, and if you can't afford it all up front, they offer payments through Affirm. The S8 is powered by two 1,000-watt brushless hub motors, one in the front wheel and one in the rear, giving you a combined peak power of 3,000 watts. Now, this system is what gives the S8 its muscle, pushing the top speed up to around 35 miles an hour and allowing you to tackle hills up to 35 degrees. However, there is a downside to having that much power up front, and that is if you're going to be starting off from a stop in dual motor mode, you're going to peel that front tire out pretty easily, and that's just going to wear down your front tire. But if you do have to start off in dual motor mode, just be light on the throttle because you can go from little power to a lot of power really quickly. Handling that 3,000 watt peak power is a large 48 volt, 25 amp hour IP54 rated lithium ion battery. Now, the battery is removable with the included keys, which makes it really convenient for charging. Now, Amyet says we could get up to 75 miles of range here on the S8, but that's under specific testing conditions. And I'm not going to be riding anywhere near those conditions today. I'm going to have it in speed mode 5, dual motor, and I might switch back and forth between single and dual motor a few times, but today's range results will be kind of a worst case scenario. If you went balls to the wall and had a lot of fun, what kind of range would you actually get versus being tame and maybe commuting to and from work? But I'm estimating you might get 30 to 40 miles of range in single motor and throttle only, but if you go into dual motor, that's going to use a lot of that battery power, and we might be in the 20s, but we'll have to find out later in the video. The S8 sits on 20-inch wheels with aggressive 4-inch wide fat tires. Now, these tires are designed to provide good grip for on-road cruising and light off-road trails, but as I mentioned, the power of that front motor can overpower the grip, causing the front tire to peel out from a stop. Would better quality tires fix that, or is the motor too strong? Well, it's really tough to say. This is the section where the S8 genuinely surprised me. The suspension setup on the S8 is a dual fork system up front and a dual spring system on the rear. And honestly, I wasn't expecting much. But on my very first ride, I literally said out loud, "Wow, this is a comfortable ride." Now, that suspension does provide a remarkably smooth experience. When you're riding over bumps in the road or cracks in the sidewalk, they're almost non-existent, even when you're at high speeds. Now, it does come in a little heavy at 95 pounds, but the maximum rider weight is 335 pounds, and it's recommended for rider heights between 5 foot 5 inches and 6 foot 5 inches. What's nice is there's a little bit of extra room here on the back for a second person. They even give you fold-out foot pegs down there for their feet. But if you're riding alone, you're going to want to keep those foot pegs extended because you can catch the back of your shoe on that peg if it's folded in when you're pedaling. Now, again, if you're riding solo and you're tall like me, this extra room in the back is nice because you can slide back a little bit and make it a little bit more comfortable when you're riding. Stopping power is handled by a set of full hydraulic disc brakes, which is great at this price point. This is the gold standard for high-speed performance bikes, and they offer superior stopping power and a better feel than mechanical disc brakes. Make sure to stick around for my high-speed brake test coming up in just a few minutes so we can see how well these hydraulic brakes actually stop us. Now, earlier I was telling you that on today's ride, I'm going to be using throttle only and not really pedaling much. And that's because the S8 has what's called a cadence sensor. Now, if you're not familiar, a cadence sensor senses any movement in the pedals and gives you 100% throttle. So after about 15 or 20 miles an hour, you're not able to keep up with the pedaling anymore, the resistance goes away, and therefore you get no exercise. So if you're trying to get a bike for exercise, a bike with a cadence sensor is not what you're looking for. I much prefer what's called a torque sensor, and that senses the amount of torque, pressure that you're putting in those pedals and only gives you that much throttle. So if you pedal slow, you go slow. If you pedal fast, you go fast. It's much more of a natural feeling when you're riding an e-bike. So if you're looking for a bike for exercise, this bike is not for you, but if you want to ride something like a motorcycle or a moped with your throttle, it's perfect for you. Amyet does offer some replacement parts, though not a huge selection. You can buy things like a new screen, new taillight, brake pads, brake levers, and new batteries. Now, most parts are priced pretty fair, but some items like the helmet for $69, the headlight for $50, the seat for $40, and an inner tube that costs $25, it all seems a little overpriced. Now, if you do need parts under warranty, you have to contact Amyet directly so they can coordinate sending out items to you for free. All right, now that we've gone over all the features and the specs here on the Amyet S8, there's nothing left to do than to take it out for a test ride, right? So let me grab my helmet. We're gonna go ahead and test our top speed. We're gonna test the brakes. We're gonna go off-road, test it in grass, see if I can find a hill around here. And most importantly, we're gonna get those range results. So let's go. All right, so the first thing I like to do while I got a full battery is a top speed test where we have the most potential of hitting that top speed. We'll do a single motor top speed test first, and then we'll go into dual motor and see how fast we can go. So let's try it. Single motor, no peeling out, just a nice easy acceleration. We're already at 20 miles an hour. $25. Looks like about 29 miles an hour. 29.3. It's about 29 miles an hour. So there's your top speed in single motor mode. Now let's go ahead and do a top speed test in dual motor mode. All right, now I've got this thing in dual motor, and we're gonna go ahead and do a top speed test to see how fast we can go. Pay attention to the front wheel peeling out when I hit the gas here. Let's go. Whoa, whoa. 20 miles an hour already. 26, 30 miles an hour, 33, 35, looks like we're at about 35, 35.5, so it looks like about 35 miles an hour, which is exactly what they said this will go. So we'll verify that with our GPS here at the end of the video, but we're able to hit the top speed with no problem. So nice top speed test. All right, it's time for a high speed brake test. We're gonna get ourselves to around 25, 27, 28 miles an hour. Slam on the brakes and see what happens. Ah! Wow, all right, well, I don't think we really skid that much on that one there. I mean, I see a little bit of a trail, so I'll try to pace the best I can. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So it's about 50 feet to stop from 30 miles an hour to 0 here with these hydraulic brakes. I thought they did a good job. All right, so I want to go over the pedal assist mode. So we have 5 modes here, and I'm going to go ahead and pedal in speed mode 1 and see what kind of top speed we can get here on the S8. Looks like I'm at 12, 15. All right, so it looks like 16 miles an hour in speed mode 1, speed mode 2. Looks like about 20 miles an hour, 19 miles an hour, speed mode 3. See, at this point, I can't even keep up with the pedaling anymore. So I'm gonna go with throttle, and looks like about 25 miles an hour is gonna be speed mode 3. And we'll go up to speed mode 4 in this new straightaway. And looks like we're at about 30 miles an hour. Yep, 30 miles an hour in speed mode 4. And then of course you got that full 35 miles an hour in speed mode 5. So there you go. As you can see, once you hit that 20 or so miles an hour, you just can't keep up with the pedaling anymore. That's why I like the torque sensors much better. All right, so let's do a little bit of off-road testing. We got these little knobbies on here on the tire, so we should be able to have some grip here in the sand. Now, right now I have it in single motor because dual motor would just be too much power for this stuff. I'll try it in dual motor in a minute, but I just kind of wanted to see what single motor would do. Riding through some really loose stuff right now, some heavy ruts, and no problem. I don't feel like it's sliding out at all. That's pretty nice. All right, let me flip it into dual motor, see what happens. Whoa! Yeah, I'm gonna keep it in single motor. The problem with dual motor is if you turn while you're in this dirt, there'll be so much torque up front that it could make you slide out. Testing suspension, boom, 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 boom. Very nice. And again, I'm just in single motor, riding through the sand, no issues at all. The suspension really is nice. For a bike of this price, I can't complain at all. Able to do 17, 18 miles an hour. Again, testing the suspension, you see how bouncy it is? So instead of it being like, you know, where it feels like it hurts when you hit a bump, it's very bouncy. I'm thinking like, you know, like Cadillac suspension versus a sports car suspension. They both have suspension, but the ride is much smoother and nicer when you're in the Cadillac versus the sports car. So the suspension I'm really happy with here on this bike. All right, so now I want to do a hill test, and I have not made it up the top of this hill except for on one bike, and that was a dual motor e-bike, the Jan Snow X60. So since I have another dual motor e-bike, I wanted to give this a try again. So I've got it in dual motor. I'm gonna go ahead and get a head start and see if we can get to the top of the mountain. Fingers crossed we don't fall. Let's go. And we're going up, we're going up, we're going up, we're still going, we're still going. All right, well, we basically made it to the top of the hill, which is really good. So that's 2 e-bikes that have made it to the top of this hill, but you need a dual motor bike to do it. So if you live in an area that has hills, you should have no problems. If you live in an area that has mountains, well, you shouldn't have any problems either, so that's good to know. So nice hill test. All right, now let's see how well these hydraulic brakes can slow you down if you're going down a mountain. And so far, pretty darn good. Just keep a little pressure on the handles and ease your way down, and no problems at all. So there you go. Uh-oh, what happened? I got no power. The screen just went blank. Let me try to turn it back on again. It's not coming back on. Uh-oh. I mean, I can't be out of battery yet. I've only gone like 15 miles. Wonder if I overheated something. All right, well, I'm gonna have to stop here for a second and try to figure out what's going on. So it looks like I might have overheated something, because after letting it sit for about 30 minutes or so, everything turned back on. So my screen's back on, I got throttle again, everything seems to be working okay. But, you know, I feel in the battery, and the battery does feel a little warm, and so does the controller back here. So, you know, I might have just overheated one or the other, or both of them, I don't know, and the whole bike just shut down, which after 15 miles is a little bit concerning, but we still have some battery left, so let's keep on going. Woohoo! Whoa! Now, another thing I'm not a big fan of with this Cadence sensor is how long it takes to engage and then disengage when you stop pedaling. If you've never had an e-bike before, be ready, because when you stop pedaling, the motor is still gonna go for a few more seconds before it stops, so don't get freaked out. But when you pedal, it takes a little bit for it to finally kick in. Sometimes 2, 3, 4 revolutions of your pedals before it kicks in. Stop pedaling, then it takes a second to stop. But if I start pedaling, there's the motor. I mean, that was a good 4 or 5 seconds. That's crazy. It should be at the most 1 to 2 seconds. So I think I need to do a little bit of tuning on the pedaling on the Cadence sensor, because once I start pedaling, there's the motor. You see how long that took? That's not typical on an e-bike. Same thing, whereas if you, there's the motor. If you're riding and you let off, it takes a second for the motor to stop, watch. And the motor cut off there. So that's another downside to a cadence sensor, is it's not like riding a real bike. The torque sensor engages immediately when you start pedaling and disengages immediately when you stop pedaling. On the cadence sensor, there's the motor. It takes 4 to 5 seconds for it to kick in, and that's not good. So just use the throttle and ride it like a moped. Now, typically when I'm reviewing dual motor electric scooters, I say when you want to go slow, put it in single motor so it won't be so jerky. And the same thing goes for this, because it's a dual motor e-bike. If you had dual motor engaged and you were trying to go slow, you'll see that it just wants to jerk you around when you're just trying to go slow. So flip it over into single motor and just ride in single motor and you shouldn't have any issues. Now, for maneuverability, this thing is really maneuverable. For being 95 pounds, it definitely is easy to turn at slow speeds and ride without having any issues. In single motor, the throttle is also much more manageable to be able to go slow and to hold that slow speed, again, without jerking you around. So if you want to go slow on anything that's dual motor, I would suggest going into single motor, just so it's a more pleasurable and more comfortable experience. But as you can see, maneuverability on the S8 is no problem at all. Let's go ahead and try to do some more grass. This time, we'll do it in really thick Florida St. Augustine grass. And again, I'm in single motor, doing 12 miles an hour in the grass without any issues. Let's flip it into dual motor now and see what that does. Whoa, 15 miles an hour. Oh yeah, so that definitely kicked it up a notch. Going into dual motor in the grass, you can get up to speed 16, 17 miles an hour without any problems at all. So riding in grass, riding in dirt, riding off-road, not an issue for the Amyet S8. All right, well, that was a lot of fun today. So before we get to my pros and cons, let's go ahead and get our final range results. So looking at the GPS app, it looks like we went 21.27 miles today, and I basically wore out the battery. I think I got like 44 volts left, so I'm really down to less than 1 bar. So you might be able to get a couple more miles out of it, but keep in mind, we were riding in dual motor, throttle only, pedal assist 5 all day today for the most part, and riding up mountains and all sorts of crazy stuff. Grass, off-roading, so you know, that's not too bad. It's not 75 miles, nowhere close to that, but again, those are under those testing conditions. If you rode in single motor, you probably would get 30, 35 miles or so, and then of course if you pedaled, which it's really hard to do, you got to go slow and pedal, you'll be able to get a little bit closer to that 75 miles. So there you go, there's your range results. All right, let's take a look at my pros and cons. What did they do well and what could they do better? Well, number one's got to be the price. A $1,599 e-bike right now for $1,049, and if you're watching this before Christmas, you can get it for another 10% off, which brings it even below $1,000. So that's number one. Number two is going to be the suspension. Some of the best I've tested on an e-bike to date. It really smooths out your ride, bumps in the road, cracks in the sidewalk. Even those brick pavers that have a lip like this, no problem at all. So the suspension, really, really nice on here. Number three is the seat right here. Seat, nice and comfortable and squishy, so you don't have to take as many butt breaks when you're out riding long distances. I also like the fact that they extended the seat so you can have a second person, gave you some foot pegs down there, so maybe a significant other or a child could ride on there with you. The hydraulic brakes, the fact that we get them on a $1,000 e-bike is really awesome as it is, but they worked really well. Stopped us within 40 to 50 feet from 30 miles an hour today, so that's definitely a pro. The removable battery is also really convenient. So let's say you go to a restaurant and you want to eat and you need to charge your battery. You can't bring this inside, so you can take the battery off and maybe they'll let you charge it at the wall over in the corner or something like that while you're eating dinner. So I like the removable battery. What else do I think that they did good on here? The kickstand's nice and beefy, doesn't let this thing lean too much. I hate when they put weak kickstands on bikes so heavy like this, so they did a good job there as well. The tires also, while thin, did provide a lot of good grip when we were out doing our off-road stuff today, so I got to give that a pro. And, well, these fenders here is kind of a 50-50. They're very functional and they keep stuff off your back, but they're plastic, so they're nice and flimsy, and I really wish they would give us some aluminum ones. That would be much nicer. But let's take a look at some cons. Number one has to be the fact that it shut off at 15 miles. I'm not sure if I overheated the battery or the controller or both, but after about 30 minutes or so, it finally came back on and I was able to continue with the ride, but it was a little scary for a minute. I'm like, what? Are we out of battery? Did I break this thing? But I think we overheated something, which is not a good sign. Number two's got to be the range, 75 miles, not even close. Of course, that's under test conditions, which they use to try to maximize the number of range that they can get. But in real world conditions, we got 21.27 today, riding in dual motor, pedal assist 5, throttle only. Of course, if you ride in single motor and you pedal, you're going to get more range than I did today. Mine was kind of a worst case scenario, but nowhere near 75, so that's definitely a con. And I already said something about the fenders. If we could get those aluminum ones, that would be great. So that's kind of a con that they're plastic and flappy, but other than that, I don't really have anything else to say. So if you do want to buy one of these guys, you can go ahead and use the affiliate link I have down below in the description. It helps out the channel, but doesn't cost you a penny more. Also, don't forget to use that coupon code Hobart to get another $50 off. And if you get it before Christmas, you get it for under $1,000. So definitely go do that now, all right? Well, for Hobart Reviews and the Amyet S8, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and the bell, so next time I put out a video, you will be notified. And we'll see you next time and on the next ride. Be safe. We'll see you.